The government has just approved all this free money for small business owners. And right now, the big question on everyone's mind, how do you actually get the money? It might end up being too complicated, but I'm bringing on Dan Geltrude, America's accountant, to break it down for you and show you step by step exactly how to get it done. And by the end of the video, I'm gonna share with you how to have someone do it for you. We have to come to the aid of the small business owners. Figure out how to get that government money the right way.
Dan, when you tell us you can't make it to the studio, that's when I'm going to get nervous. But until then,
don't worry about that, Charles. If you're here, I'm here.
Dan knows of what he speaks. He has a very good gut. The Karma King of Cash is here. And Money Maestro Dan Geltrude on the good financial karma.
America's accountant, Dan Geltrude, managing director of Geltrude and Company.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dan Geltrude. Dude, thank you so much for being here today. We have a lot to talk about. You excited?
I'm very excited, Kris. Thank you for having me.
You know, I'm just kind of curious, this whole idea of the government giving out this money, do you think they actually should be supporting small businesses with money after basically violating some of our Bill of Rights of saying, you can't work, you can't do this? It's like, how am I supposed to pursue happiness if you're telling me that all of a sudden all these laws and rights are being violated?
You're exactly right, Kris. Look, small businesses employ about 50% of all the employees in the United States. So the federal government has no choice here. They got to step in and, quite frankly, give us back our tax money. That's our money. We got to get it back and keep things rolling.
Well, and I think it is so cool. Congress finally came together. It seems like it normally would have taken them months, but literally through the night, they basically found a way to come together and say, we have to come to the aid of the small business owners that are frankly suffering right now. Because you're right, 50% of our GDP is on the backbone of small businesses. I saw a statistic that said that already a third of businesses have gone out of business. We've got unemployment shooting up. I mean, this is just a nightmare right now.
It really is, Kris. And I'm glad that the government stepped in here. We could say it's a miracle, but however we got to this point, we're in a good place now. So now businesses have to figure out how they're going to get that money, and that is key.
Now, I promised our YouTube viewers today that if they own a small business, if they have payroll expense, if they've got other expenses, that I was bringing you on today to actually share with them what they can do to actually file for and get that money. And you've been actually spearheading the approach on supporting small businesses. The problem is that a lot of them aren't organized to actually fill out the paperwork or get things together. So let's just start with this. What is the government actually offering potentially to pay for a small business?
So what they're looking at, Kris, is an 8-week period where they're going to help out small businesses. Now, it's very important. What are they going to help with? They're going to help with payroll, and they're going to help with carrying costs. What are carrying costs? Things like utilities, your rent, debt service, and any interest that you had on loans before February 15th, 2020. So what they're trying to do, Kris, is keep you in business and keep your employees engaged. That's the goal right now.
Got it. And I've heard that they're actually willing, it's strange, instead of calling it a grant, they're covering it a loan, that we can talk about this whole forgiveness thing, but I've heard that it's up to 2.5 times payroll and expenses. Is that right?
That's correct. So what you need to do in very broad terms is you calculate your salary cost average for the month, and then you multiply that by 2.5 times, and that's the amount of money that you're eligible to have a loan for. And hopefully, if you do it right, it gets forgiven at the end.
So this is kind of exciting. I mean, if a company said, wow, all of my justifiable expenses based on the government, based on that definition is $50,000 a month, 2.5 times 50,000 for that 8-week period would be $125,000 note. Basically, to me, I cut that in half and amortize it over 30 days. And it looks like the government is saying, we're trying in that 8-week period to cover all of your expenses plus a little bit of money, and we're hoping that that keeps you in business. Does that sound about right, Dan?
That's exactly right. And you know something, Kris, what we should be clear about, some people are using this term stimulus. Let's call it as we see it. This is not stimulus. This is relief. We can talk about stimulus after we get past the virus. The main goal is let's keep businesses around and let's keep people employed. That's the key right now for everyone.
So this is so important. Here's what I think, though, is the singular problem. The government is now funding the banks. They're giving them this money, and they're basically saying, we are going to give this money and pass this money on to you. However, you have to fill out the paperwork. And I'm going to tell you, I've already downloaded the paperwork, and I've started filling it out. And I'm not going to lie, Dan, it's like, oh my gosh, my head is spinning what you're asking for. I want the free money, but guess what? I think there's a lot of businesses out there that if they don't have a CFO, and most people, you don't have a CFO until, you know, you're rolling in 20, 30 million a year. If companies don't have that level of accounting organization, will they really be sophisticated enough to pull out all the documentation and paperwork together to file for this?
Well, they may not. And that's where you got to reach out for help. Look, I can't tell you how critical it is to handle the process correctly. And let me tell you why. Because people are hearing, you know, there's free money, and that's true. There is free money. But it comes with a lot of details and a lot of hooks behind that. And I'm going to presume right now, as we're starting the program, the government may be a little bit more on the generous side in getting the money out to people. However, when it comes to forgiving that loan where it becomes free money, that's where the trouble could start, because I don't think the government is going to be so easygoing. And we may have a situation where they're going to say, well, you know what? You didn't actually qualify. You didn't follow the rules. You didn't fill out the application process properly. So you know what? That's now a loan. And that is not where you want to be as a small business. Why? Because when you come out of this, now you have more debt. You're actually behind where you were when this whole thing started. Not good, Kris, not good.
You know, and that's why I think, Dan, it's so important for people to say, okay, I want to get the free money, but I've got to do it the right way, especially because I don't want this to turn into a loan. And I think they're using that word instead of grant. They're basically saying, you dot your I's, you cross your T's, this loan will be forgiven. If you don't dot your I's and cross your T's, we can come back and audit. And I just tell you firsthand, I know that the government loves to audit. They want their money. So I think it's great that this money is available, but I think it is super important for people to realize that you've got to do it the right way. And if your accounting is not very organized, if your staff isn't up to the task, it is super important to reach out to professionals.
No doubt about it, Kris. Look, you're going to want to have the right guidance here. And you bring up an excellent point. The government does love to audit. Why? Because they get money. So after this process is coming to an end, I can guarantee you they're going to be out there auditing, because I believe there's going to be a lot of fraud. And how about this? A lot of accusations of fraud. So maybe if you just made a mistake, you can end up in a situation where the government is taking up criminal charges against you. That's the last place you need to be. So it's really important to get this right out of the box, initially and at the end.
Awesome. Well, listen, Dan, I want to thank you so much for being here today and answering these questions. When we come back in just a moment, I'm actually going to share with you a resource that you have available to you in the link below to make sure that you actually get your government free money. And I'm talking about hand-holding someone with white gloves that knows what they're doing, walking you through the process to ensure that you actually get that money. Dan, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being a part of the solution. Thank you for educating. And I'm excited for you and I to connect and for me to show you exactly step by step what you need to do to get that free government money now. Boom. Like, how amazing and how crazy is that? Right now, you are probably wondering, though, how do I get my hands on that government money, and can someone actually help me? And I want you to know that Dan, who's just finishing up April taxes, has actually retasked his team to help as many Americans as possible figure out how to get that government money the right way. If you're confused, if you don't like paperwork, if you're nervous, if you don't have a bulletproof way of having it done right, Dan may be the solution to help you get all of that free government money. So here's what I want you to do. There is a link below. Fill out your name, phone, and email, and someone from his team is actually going to get in touch with you and walk you through exactly what you need to do to access that money. So all you have to do is click the link and then get the help. Other than that, thanks for watching today. Go get that free money. Go use it to stay in business, grow your business, evolve your business, become stronger, better, wiser during these times. Let the coronavirus do something good for you. And subscribe. See you tomorrow. Peace out.